Breaking news that crucial verdict is out. This is in the bombing case that has come out. The Makoka court. The verdict is out, which has said that 5 have been convicted in the 7/11 case by the Makoka court. That's the breaking news that we're getting in. 5 convicted in the 7/11 train blast case. The names of the 5 convicted of that case has also come out. It's Kamal Ansari, Faisal Sheikh, Ehtisham Siddiqui, Navid Hussain. So these are the names coming out there. 5 have been convicted in the 7/11 train blast case. Remember, this verdict has come out by the Special Maharashtra Control of Organised Crime Act, the Makoka court. They were expected to pronounce the verdict and we have the news that 5 have been convicted. The trial has lasted 8 long years. Prosecution has examined more than 190 witnesses. About 8 IPS officers, several IAS officers also who have been questioned, along with several others. Remember, this case has been going on for a long time now. 7 RDX bombs exploded in the first-class compartments of Mumbai's suburban trains on July 11, 2006, and 5 people have been convicted in that case. Kamlesh Sutar joins us with the very latest. Kamlesh, just fill us with the details.
The news that is coming in out of the Sessions Court now is that 5 have been convicted. 5 people have been convicted for their role in the 7/11 serial blast. Kamal Ansari, who was arrested from Madhubani in Bihar, has been convicted. Faisal Sheikh, who was arrested from Mira Road by the ATS in 2006, he's also convicted. Ehtisham Siddiqui, Navid Hussain, and Asif Khan, Bashir Khan has been. All these 5 have been convicted for their roles. More details are coming out as the judge reads out the judgment. We will be getting to know what exactly have they been convicted of their role or any other larger role that they have played. But for now, 5 people have been convicted in the 7/11 blast.
All right, Kamlesh, just tell us a little bit more about these people who have been convicted now. I remember that 13, men who were alleged activists of the Simmi were arrested. All right, we'll go to Kamlesh in just a bit, but that's the little bit of information that he had with us, that 5 have been convicted in the 7/11 train blast case by the Makoka court. We're still awaiting details. We're waiting, more information, but the 5 have been convicted so far. Their names are Kamal Ansari, Faisal Sheikh, Ehtisham Siddiqui, Navid Hussain and Asif Khan. This is related to the case, the Mumbai train blast case, when 7 RDX bombs exploded within a span of just about 11 minutes in the first-class compartments of Mumbai suburban trains on July 11, 2006. There were several arrests that were made, and many of them, in fact, many of those arrested have been languishing in the jails for 8 long years. The case has been going on for 8 long years. There were certain, discrepancies that were associated with this case in various versions of the investigators. Now, but after all these years now, the trial being completed and the verdict being pronounced, 5 people there convicted for the Mumbai train attacks. That's the latest bit of news that we're giving in right now. Remember, in February 2008, the Supreme Court had stayed the trial. This is after one of the accused had challenged the constitutional validity of one of the sections of Makoka Act that was applied in this particular case. But then, it was vacated. The stay was vacated in April 2010, after which the trial has been continuing. At that time, in fact, the ATS chief was headed by KP Raghuvanshi. There have been a lot of question marks on the progress of the investigations, and on the investigations in itself. The victims, the families of the victims, they're calling it a shoddy probe. They have been awaiting compensation for so many years. Will this finally be a closure to them, for all those who lost their lives in those deadly train attacks that shook Mumbai in the year 2006? It was the suburban rail services, the lifeline of Mumbai, that was targeted. But clearly, the indomitable spirit of Mumbaikars saw life resuming once again post those attacks. Kamlesh, if you could just give us more details about these 5 people who have been convicted. There were 13 people who were arrested by the ATS. who were allegedly, believed to be Simi activists, and then there were 5 arrests made by the Mumbai crime branch. Just explain us, who are these people who have been convicted? Kamlesh, can you hear me?
That includes. Yes, Avantika.
Yes, Kamlesh, please go ahead.
Yes, so Avantika, I was telling about the role. Basically, they have all been convicted under 302. Basically, the larger role is that carrying out blasts, the planning and executing the blast in Mumbai. Not talking about each person, a couple of them. If I can tell you, Kamal Ansari was the one who had taken. Who has brought some terrorists from he's brought some terrorists to Mumbai through the Nepal route, and he was the one who had arranged for the explosives. Remember, the use of RDX and ammonium nitrate was an important link in this case, and that is how the case was cracked. This was the module that was used by Simi earlier. So the use of the use of explosives, and that arranging for the explosives was done by Kamal Ansari. That was his role. He was the one who planted the bomb at Matunga railway station at the peak hours in Mumbai. He'd also got training from Pakistan. So that was his role that he played, and today the court has convicted him guilty for the 7/11 serial blast. Also talking about Ehtesham Siddiqui, who's also being convicted. Ehtesham Siddiqui was part of the meeting, the pre-planning meeting that took place at Mohammed Faisal's house. That meeting was supposed to plan for the blast, working out all the modalities of the blast.
Kamlesh, stay with us. We have on the phone line former ATS chief, Mr. KP Raghuvanshi. Sir, if you could just tell us a little bit more about the 5 people who have been convicted. You were part of the investigations. You were heading the ATS at that time. These people, Kamal Ansari, Faisal Sheikh, Ehtesham Siddiqui, Navid Hussain and Asif Khan.
Now, whatever name you mentioned in just now, they all are the planters. They are the people who had participated along with the Pakistanis to plant the bomb. Not only planter, they were in the case from the beginning, including conspiracy, wrecking, making of the bomb. They are involved in all activity, even identifying the place also.
Right. Mr. Raghuvanshi, there were several questions, and discrepancies in the versions of the investigators at that time. What do you have to say about that, and why has it taken so long, for these people to have been convicted?
Vicky, if you look at the whole thing, whatever evidence we collected, whatever material we had, we have put before the court. Now, court has appreciated the evidence and reached to some conclusion. No, after that, I don't think I'm required to comment anything about controversies, so-called whatever you mentioned. Secondly, you mentioned about the delay. More than 4 years delay was caused by culprits themselves. They were running from here to there. They were creating all the problem. They were showing. They said that they don't have faith in the judge. Then demanding the change of the judge. Almost 1 year was wasted in that. Then they took the stay from the Supreme Court about the trial. More than 3 years were, almost 4.5 years were wasted in that. In fact, actual trial started in the month of February 2010. And after that, within 4 years, the judgment has come.
Right. Mr. KP Raghuvanshi, can you just explain this a little bit more for us? The course of investigations. What were the challenges that you faced while you were heading the ATS?
So this was a very absolute case where there were no traces of whatsoever were found. If you see the earlier cases also, whether it is the Delhi case or it is even Bali bombing or it is even tube bombing London, wherever such thing has happened, they have always found something unexploded, some evidence. From there you can start the investigation. This was the case which was done with total perfection, where not a single bomb remained unexploded. And practically there was no, because of the rains and everything, the weather that time was so bad that even whatever evidence was on the spot, even that was partly washed away. But ATS and Maharashtra police worked very hard, and we were able to nab these fellows.
So, this was one of the most horrific terror attacks that, Mumbaikars had seen. But the entire investigation of the ATS was also challenged by the arrest of Sadiq Sheikh, if I'm not mistaken. In fact, the ATS had even given him a clean bill in the train blast case, this despite his confession.
That's what I'm saying, that Sadiq was also arrested by ATS subsequently. And after the investigation, whatever his story was, that was also put before the judge. Now, trial judge, after having examined everything, have given this verdict that whatever investigation was done by ATS has been found to be correct and true. I can't say beyond this, I believe.
All right, understandable. So why was there so much of controversy over, those call data records that were submitted by the accused?
That was no controversy per se. In fact, we had not, these call details were obtained just to understand their connection and connectivity, how they are linked with each other up to proceed with the investigation. If it was not found to be useful for the prosecution, we have not put up in our charge sheet. But remember, whatever it was available, it's on the record. Trial judge has examined everything and has reached to this verdict. Now you can let me read the whole verdict, and perhaps after that only I should be able to comment more about it.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
KP Raghuvanshi there, former ATS chief at that time, who was heading the investigations, speaking to India today. And we just got news that 5 people have been convicted in the Mumbai train blast case. We'll get you more details in just a bit. We're heading into a short